problem.
Okay, now here's the other one. What's your take on the Illuminati? Like, everybody's talking about that right now with the, you know, certain images and stuff.
I mean, I ain't really down with no secret societies. You know what I'm saying? I think, you know, all this secret shit got the world fucked up. So I ain't really down with none of that. Okay. They can do what they want to do. Right. They know where I stand on it. You know what I mean? My resume is and track record on that bullshit is public and been public for years. So they know I ain't down with that shit. And, you know, to me, all secret societies are up to no good.
Right.
No, it would not have been. Constitution would not have been written by Freemasons. They go against God.
Okay, the volume of her voice did not change from here to here. This is where the microphone supposedly is. And the volume of her voice doesn't change. As they're pulling her out of the room, you can hear her and people next to her.
You cannot serve two masters.
You see that?
Now, she works for the house, right?
And they're just going to keep reporting. Now, the problem with this video is actually this.
This is not one nation under God. It never was. Had it been, it would not have been. No. It would not have been. Constitution would not have been written by Freemasons. They go against God. Constitution would not have been written by Freemasons. They go against God. They go against God.
They're the ones you should be arresting, not me.
Why didn't you say that before? What do we got here? Captain, this is William Klein. He was wrecking an office.
But I just wanted to meet them face to face. I wanted them to admit what they were doing.
Who is they? He was in the office of the Trilateral Commission.
Trilateral Commission?
Yeah, the Trilateral Commission.
All right, what is the Trilateral Commission?
It's an organization founded in 1973 by David Rockefeller to bring together business and political leaders from the United States, Europe, Japan, so they could work together for better economic and political cooperation between their nations.
And that's what they'd like us to believe. But you see, what they're really up to is a scheme to plant their own loyal members in positions of power in this country, to work to erase national boundaries and create an international community, and in time bring about a one-world government with David Rockefeller calling the shots.
I take it they're pressing charges?
Yeah, well, he broke a globe and some UNICEF artwork.
Well, they're in on it, too.
Okay, Mr. Klein, if you just...
I'm telling you, our whole way of life as we know it is in jeopardy.
I appreciate that information.
But I have the documented evidence. It's all in there. Show him.
Well, he's got these magazines here.
Conspiracy Review? Suppressed Truth Roundup?
The whole master plan is exposed.
Yeah, well,
You're still not convinced, huh? Would you like to hear the names of just a few of the people who have been on the Trilateral Commission?
Not particularly.
James Earl Carter. Heard of him?
Look, Mr. Klein...
Henry Kissinger. You heard of him? Walter Mondale.
Who?
Mr. Klein, this is
John Anderson, George Bush. Now, you remember at the convention, everybody thought it was going to be Ford for Veep. You know what happened? David Rockefeller just picked up a phone, put in a call. Hey, Ronnie, forget Jerry, it's George. Bye. So, no matter who won in November, they had their man in the White House.
Are you through?
Ukraine is, I think it's painful. Especially, obviously with none of those traditional Eastern European nations making it onto the podium as well. It's the New World Order, guys, and you're at the front of it, you're spearheading it. Listen, good luck in the rest of your finals. Sneak out if you can, enjoy yourself a little bit. We won't tell them. Thank you so much for coming in. Thank you. Okay.
I'm saying that there are people that were the people that did this to both me and Corey that are still working, they're still out there, and they're some of the richest, most powerful people in this business.
And they are
And they do not want me saying what I'm saying right now.
Are you saying that they're pedophiles?
Yes.
And that they're still in this business?
Yes.
That's what. Yeah, and that's what you were saying in your book. When you talk to when you talk to
and
parents,
they don't want me here right now. Trust
Corey,
me. They want me dead.
There are a lot of parents out here who want to put their kids in this business. Their kids are cute. They're great actors. Da, da, da. What would you say to a parent who just has the best of intentions who's coming here with their child? If you're saying that there's a lot of predators in this industry.
It's a many-feathered bird, okay? Be careful what you wish for. That's what I'll tell you. You know, don't go into it with naivety. Don't go into it thinking that it's all roses and sunglasses and
You're damaging an entire industry.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to say that it's a very important, serious topic.
You said that there was one gentleman in the industry who did not take advantage of you. He was not a pedophile. You said it was Michael Jackson.
Of all people.
But there's one other issue that the new members need to be aware of. Because it's going to haunt this Parliament. And Esther, yesterday on Sky Television, outlined it bravely, and I've been in touch with her today, where she's gone to the police with a member of Parliament that she and now a number of others are alleging abused her as a child. Well, I'll tell you, I'm expecting other people with other names coming forward from other parts of the country in the near future. Others have already done so and are with the police, large numbers of them. The scandal of historic child abuse in this country is going to be one of the defining issues of the next 5 years. It's going to corrode everything over this Parliament because it is so large, it is so huge, it involves so many people. And just in my area, I have people come forward to me, a man kept as a slave, forced to work in a foundry, aged 11 to 16, kept as a slave. And that's nice compared to what happened to the rest of his family. Kept as a slave. I have 26 victims of child abuse just from my constituency, just so far, who've been to me, and who the hell am I for them to come to? That is how big this scandal across the country is. And the government was right last time to set up the Goddard inquiry. And I've put down, if you don't know what an early day motion is, it's usually a bit of nonsense that you sign to send letters to people telling them how good you are, but I've put one down already, calling on the government to lift the restrictions of the Official Secrets Act, because there are a lot of people, including former Special Branch, who want to speak out, who can speak out, answering the basic question that I pose to anyone who wants to know about it. Why was Cyril Smith allowed to get away with prolific child abuse for so many years? But it wasn't just Smith. There were far more. And what's been unravelled just now in Staffordshire from yesterday is just one other aspect of it. And what I found in my constituency is no worse, no different to anywhere else in the country. This is nationwide, it's every aspect of society. It is phenomenal, the numbers of people who've been to see me on top of the 26, who don't want to go and have the police involved, who never want to go public, who never actually want to say anything, because that's how, and it is their right to do it, they have dealt with that childhood trauma. The man who flew back from Canada, having never visited my constituency in 30 years because of what happened to him, to spend 20 minutes in the library in my surgery just to tell me, knowing nothing could be done, to fly back again. That is the impact of historic child abuse. This Parliament's going to have to deal with it.
A clip from Dr. Sanjay Gupta's documentary, Weed, which airs on CNN this Sunday night. Sanjay spent a year investigating the fight over medical marijuana. More and more Americans are using it. Just a few days ago, Washington, D.C. opened up its first medical marijuana dispensary. And CNN's chief medical correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, joins me now. Sanjay, welcome to you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, come on, you've been looking at this for a year, and I want to remind you that in 2009, you wrote a Time magazine article entitled Why I Would Vote No on Pot. You've changed your mind.
I have, and as part of you know, my thinking recently, I've apologized for some of the earlier reporting because I think, you know, we've been terribly and systematically misled in this country for some time, and I did part of that misleading. You know, if you look at all the papers that are written in the United States about marijuana, the vast majority of them are about the harm. That we fund studies on harm, we don't fund studies on benefit nearly as much. So it gives a distorted picture. But you know, I didn't look far enough, I didn't look deep enough, I didn't look at labs in other countries that are doing some incredible research. I didn't listen to the chorus of patients who said, not only does marijuana work for me, it's the only thing that works for me. I took the DEA at their word when they said it's a Schedule I substance and has no medical applications. There was no scientific basis for them to say that.
So when New York Mayor Bloomberg was quoted as saying medical marijuana is the greatest hoax of all time, what do you say to him?
I'm surprised, you know. I mean, I follow a lot of the mayor's comments quite closely. I listen to those comments as well. As part of those same comments, he was saying that the potency of marijuana has gone up. That is true. It has gone up probably over the last several years. But I urge him to look at the scientific papers. I was just looking at them again in preparation for your show. The science is there. This isn't anecdotal. This isn't in the realm of conjecture anymore. I mean, for a long time, we've just ignored these papers. But this was a drug, you know, that was used for thousands of years.
The don't fall into is in brackets.
Fall.
When you said I do, I guess your heart wasn't in it. And when you said not now, I knew I'd never win it. But there's danger at the bar flap. You know I mean the tall chap. Don't you fall into the Mason's arms. Give that sharp suit a miss, hear the beat of my drum. That bookie spells heartbreak and the odds are 2 to 1. I'm begging and a-pleading, Mayday, Mayday, crying and a-bleeding, Mayday, Mayday, imploring and beseeching, a-begging and a-bleeding, that you won't submit to the Mason's charms, that you won't fall into the Mason's arms, that you won't submit to the Mason's charms. Let that rover return, let's begin the begin. Sow the seeds of happiness, then harvest all them dreams. Or we just curl up on the sofa with tea and gypsy creams. So don't you fall into, don't you give in to, don't you submit to the Mason's charms. Don't you fall into, don't you give in to, don't you submit to the Mason's charms, the Mason's charms, the Mason's charms.
Well, it was scary for sure because tonight students who were in the classroom are telling News 10 that the little girl even tried cutting herself and another student in class.
As frightening as that sounds, some parents are fuming mad, and the school, they say, didn't do more to protect their kids. News 10's Simney Chewin is live at John Sloat Elementary where it all went down. Simney?
This is a letter that went home with kids today about what happened. It tries to reassure parents and tells them that there were no weapons or dangerous objects involved. But one parent calls that an outright lie. And tonight we talk with kids who were in the classroom at the time, and they give us an eyewitness account of what happened.
So I was scared and I was crying really bad.
Students at John Sloat Elementary describe a day of horror on Thursday when one of their classmates, a 5th grade girl, started shouting she was part of the Illuminati and threatened to kill other students.
She said she wanted to sell her soul to the devil, and then she said she'll kill everybody. Everybody just started crying because they were scared that they were going to die that day.
At one point, students say she grabbed a pair of scissors.
Yeah, I see her trying to cut herself and put and like draw blood, but then she got up and tried to stab another girl that was a seat away from her.
Students say she also drew Illuminati symbols like this one and wrote 666 in the bathroom. Students say her outburst went on for at least an hour, with the teacher only telling them to ignore the girl.
He thought she was just trying to get attention.
When they told the teacher about what was going on,
Antonio Farinas contacted News 10 because he thinks the school should have notified him immediately.
to not be notified about it all day until 6:30 at night last night, that was real upsetting, because when I picked up my kids from school, they were in tears.
Some parents we spoke with think the school could have done more to protect the kids in class and should have taken the girl out of class much sooner.
With all the stuff that's been going on with schools, what does it take for a child to show you that there's something wrong, for her to actually follow through with what she says she's going to do?
They should have stepped it like right away and not let her scare them more, you know?
News 10 also contacted the Sacramento City Unified School District. They say that they are investigating a disturbance at the school and that they responded immediately and that the students were safe. Now, as for the student at the center of this, students tell us she was at school today, but not in the classroom. Reporting live from South Sacramento, Simni Chun, News 10.
Simni, thanks.
We asked people on our Facebook page how they think the school should have responded, and Teresa writes, I would probably have liked to have been called or informed right away. But Laura says, I hope the school works with her family to get her the proper help she needs. I think the school handled it well.
I respected your sincerity. I'd ask you respect mine. Well, all due respect in the most unparliamentary language. Fuck you, Deputy Stagg. Fuck you. I apologise now for my use of unparliamentary language.
That is most unparliamentary language.
It is most unparliamentary language, and I now withdraw it and apologise for it. But I'm outraged that someone dares question my sincerity on this issue. I don't like what has to be done, but I'm going to take the responsibility and get it on the chin and get the unpopularity and lose my seat, because it's the only thing we can do to get this country out of the state we're in. I firmly believe that.
Deputy Costello.
I firmly believe that. And you respect my view. I didn't cause the economic mess. I didn't take money from developers or leave the. I didn't.
Deputy Shortall.
That's the point.
Deputy Shortall.
The point is.
Deputy
the point is. We are screwed.
The
point is we are screwed as a country because of the wrongdoing of others.
Welcome aboard. Please have your own personal belongings and take your seat. Now departing for the HAARP research station.
He definitely says it. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Welcome aboard. Please have your own personal belongings and take your
the HAARP research station.
The death dumps, otherwise known as chemical trails, are being dropped and sprayed throughout the United States, in England, Scotland, Ireland, Northern Europe, and I have personally seen them not only in the United States but in Mexico and Canada. Birds are dying around the world. Fish are dying by the hundreds of thousands around the world. This is genocide. This is poison. This is murder by the United Nations. This element within our society that's doing this must be stopped.
But the problem is that people can't see the cigar store now. I mean, things don't affect people the way they used to. I mean, it may very well be that 10 years from now, people will pay $10,000 in cash to be castrated just in order to be affected by something.
Well, why do you think that is? I mean, why is that? I mean, is it just because people are lazy today or they're bored? I mean, are we just like bored, spoiled children who've just been lying in the bathtub all day, just playing with their plastic duck, and now they're just thinking, well, what can I do?
Okay, yes, we are bored. We're all bored now. But has it ever occurred to you, Wally, that the process that creates this boredom that we see in the world now may very well be a self-perpetuating, unconscious form of brainwashing created by a world totalitarian government based on money, and that all of this is much more dangerous than one thinks, and it's not just a question of individual survival, Wally, but that somebody who's bored is asleep, and somebody who's asleep will not say no?